Vehicle preparation. Apply parking brake. Open hood of the vehicle. Disconnect the negative battery cable. Prepare a protective surface to place all vehicle components on. Front door woofer installation. Remove door panels. Remove the A-pillar by pulling straight and away from the door. Disengage any clips that remain in the door and return to the A-pillar panel. Disengage the door locking tab. Use the panel tool to remove the window door lock control panel. Insert tool between the front edge of the panel of the trim to remove. Disconnect window door lock control connectors from the panel. Use of a pick tool or a precision screwdriver is needed to release the connector. Use a pick tool to remove the carpet cover in the grab handle and remove the number 2 Phillips screw behind the cover. Use a panel tool to remove the cover behind the interior door latch and remove the number 2 Phillips screw. Use a panel tool to disengage the clips behind the door panel one at a time. Start at the bottom, then the sides, and finish at the top. Use gentle force to remove the door panel. Remove door latch assembly from the door panel by unsnapping and lifting the latch connectors. Connectors need to be reassembled in the same orientation, white on top, green on bottom. Set door panel aside. Disconnect the factory 6x9 speaker connector. Remove the 4 10mm bolts holding the factory 6x9 speaker in place and remove the speaker. Mount the OEM Audio Plus 6x9 woofer by using the 4 10mm bolts and reinstall the 6x9 speaker connector. Reassemble door in reverse order, taking time to ensure all clips are engaged. Rear door speaker installation. Remove door panels. Use a panel tool to remove the cover behind the interior door latch and remove the number 2 Phillips screw. Lift the carpet cover from the grab handle cavity and remove the number 2 Phillips screw. Disengage the door locking tab. Use a panel tool to remove the window door lock control panel. Disconnect the window door lock control connectors from the panel. Remove the door pillar by prying away from the door assembly. Disengage any clips that remain in the door and return to the panel. Use gentle force to remove the door panel. Start at the bottom, then the sides, and finish at the top. Disconnect the 6.5 factory speaker connector. Remove the 3 10mm bolts holding the factory speaker in place and remove the speaker. Mount the 6.5 OEM Audio Plus coaxial speaker by using the 3 10mm bolts and reinstalling the speaker connector. Reassemble door in reverse order, taking time to ensure all clips are engaged. Failure to securely reinstall door panel may result in rattles. Tweeter installation. In the dash area, remove the A-pillar interior trim panel. Open the plastic cover and remove the 10mm bolt. Pull panel out of position and away. Using a pick or panel tool, carefully lift the dash speaker grill up and out of position. Remove the 10mm bolts holding the factory dash speaker in place and remove the speaker. Disconnect the factory dash speaker and position the OEM Audio Plus 1-inch soft dome tweeter in position. Reinstall the dash speaker connector and mount using the original 10mm bolts. Reinstall the dash speaker grill, A-pillar interior trim panel, and the 10mm bolt. Repeat process for the other side of the vehicle. Amplifier installation. Loosen the driver's seat. Slide the seat forward and remove the trim panel covering the seat bolts on the rear side of the seat. Locate the slots in the trim covers and pry them off using the forked end of your trim tool. Using a 14mm socket with a 6-inch extension, remove the 2 rear 14mm seat bolts. Slide seats to the rear and remove the 2 front 14mm seat bolts. Mount the amplifier. Tilt the seat towards the rear of the vehicle. Remove the center cable mounting clip. This bundle will be repositioned and housed on the OEM Audio Plus amplifier assembly once mounted. Install and position the 2 provided speed clips so that it aligns with the 2 inner center holes of the underseat frame. Position the amplifier assembly so that the rear bracket hooks on the rearmost spring and the front bracket arm rest on the underseat front frame. Position OEM Audio Plus amplifier bracket support into position and install provided 10mm bolts. The amplifier connector receptacles will face the driver's side of the vehicle. Quick sync wire and harness installation. Remove the driver's side front threshold. Remove the driver's side kick panel by unscrewing the black locking tab. Remove the driver's side rear threshold by pulling in an upward motion. Remove the lower seatbelt mounting bolt cover and bolt. Loosen seatbelt trim weather stripping by hand and remove carefully in an outward direction on both the front and the rear passenger side thresholds. Disengage driver's side seatbelt trim panel by pulling directly towards you from the lower portion of the panel and working your way up, disengaging the clips behind. Check for red snaps that may not have come off with the panel. Reinsert to panel if applicable. Fold rear driver's side seat forward and remove hardware trim covers by pulling in an upward direction. Using a 14mm socket, remove the 2 14mm seat bolts securing the seat back rest into position. Remove seat back rest. Using a 10mm socket, remove the 3 10mm bolts securing the rear storage panel from behind the driver's side rear seat. Hold the panel and disengage the front and top edge snaps one at a time while simultaneously pulling the panel towards you. Remove panel from the vehicle. Remove the weather stripping on the rear driver's side door to access the rear side panel. Apply pressure to the panel, pushing away from its position to disengage the locking clips. The bottom locking clip of the panel may require a panel tool to disengage. Position the tool between the tab and the frame of the vehicle to pry away. Panel modification. Mark the connector location on the driver's side of the storage area panel. A 1-inch hole saw can be used for a large enough opening to allow the subwoofer connectors to pass through without altering the exterior appearance of the panel. Quick sync wire and harness installation. Unfasten the white plastic carpet clips along the front driver's side of the threshold area. Lift carpet edge to expose the cable route. Run the quick sync wire and harness amplifier connectors and ground underneath the carpet opening from the front driver's side threshold to the opening used by the factory wiring that connects under the seat. Leave about 6 to 10 inches of slack for the white and gray connectors from the carpet opening. Locate the factory ground underneath the carpet and remove the 10mm ground bolt. Install the harness ground together with the factory ground and reinstall the 10mm bolt. Make sure the harness ground rests on top of the factory ground bolt. You will be left with the white and gray connectors of the quick-sync wiring harness underneath the driver's side seat. Plug the white and gray 22-pin connectors from the quick-sync wiring harness into the designated receptacles of the DSP amplifier. White connector inserts into the receptacle towards the rear of the vehicle. You want to ensure that the quick-sync wiring harness has enough slack so that the cable is in a rested position even when the driver's seat is pushed all the way back. Route the quick-sync wiring harness radio connectors and power wire towards the driver's side kick panel area. Leave the wires in the kick panel floor area for the time being. Run the length of the subwoofer umbilical cable alongside the driver's side threshold towards the rear of the truck. Disengage and re-engage the plastic white clips along the route. Use cable ties as necessary. Reinstall the rear driver's side corner panel, taking time to ensure that all connectors engage properly. Position the rear storage panel back in the vehicle, running the sub-connector through with 1 to 2 inches of slack remaining once panel is in a rested position. Reinstall rear storage panel ensuring all clips are fully engaged, and then use mounting hardware. Connect subwoofer umbilical connectors to the OEM Audio Plus subwoofer system. Slide sub-enclosure into panel cavity until it rests in place. Reinstall seat back rest and trim covers. Reinstall rear weather stripping, driver's side seat belt trim, and rear threshold panel. Return driver's seat back into place and confirm that the seat bolt holes are lining up. Tighten the seat bolts by hand at first to ensure proper alignment. If there is too much resistance, start over and double check the alignment. Finish tightening all 4 seat bolts using your 14mm socket and ratchet. Radio removal. Remove radio trim by inserting a plastic tool to the bottom edge and carefully prying away by hand. Using a socket wrench, remove the 4 10mm bolts holding the radio in place. Lay down protective blanket over transmission area. Disconnect connectors and antenna leads. Remove radio and store. Route the quick-sync wire and harness radio connectors and power wire towards the driver's side kick panel area. Use cable ties as necessary. Run the harness above the accelerator pedal and steering column towards the radio cavity. Run neatly and out of the way and use cable ties as necessary. Route the harness towards the radio cavity until the connectors are visible. Connect the quick-sync wiring harness into the radio and factory harness using the designated connectors. Pull power wire through the radio cavity and run towards the passenger side kick panel area. Fish above the air conditioning unit into the factory grommet location. Reinstall all connectors that were originally plugged into the back of your radio. Plug in your factory 10-pin and 6-pin connector into the quick-sync wiring harness and the quick-sync wiring harness directly into your radio. Reinstall radio and trim panel. Power wire installation. Under the hood on the passenger side of the vehicle, locate the grommet for the main factory wiring harness on the passenger side of the firewall directly below the factory wiring. Identify the unused nipple and slice the tip off to create an opening for the power wire. For best results, insert a 10-inch wire or cable tie through the grommet from under the hood and attach power wire from the kick panel area. Run the length of the wire through the grommet. You'll want just enough length to reach your battery. Cut any additional slack. Install the supplied high-temperature corrugated split loom to cover the power wires and insulate against extreme temperatures under the hood. Run loomed power wire towards the battery, secure using cable ties as necessary. Use a wire stripper to strip 3/8 of an inch off the end of the power wire. Connect the power wires to the fuse holder assembly by inserting the 12-gauge stripped power wire into the yellow butt connector and crimp. Apply heat to activate the built-in solder and heat shrink insulator for the best connection possible. Install the 10mm bolt from the battery positive terminal. Install the ring terminal of the fuse holder lead. Reinstall the 10mm bolt of the fuse holder assembly and tighten. Install the provided fuse. Reconnect the battery and close the hood. This concludes the OEM Audio Plus Reference 450Q sound solution installation for the Toyota Tacoma Double Cab.